So you're decided that you want to do an extension at the ground floor of your property, and you want to know how much it's going to cost in 2023. And so this video is going to talk a little bit about construction cost directly related to a small sort of single-story rear extension, and understanding what you might need to factor in relation to those costs. So if you've just decided you want to do this extension, then the reality is the likelihood of you being on site, tomorrow is less likely, and you're likely to be in a position to be able to be starting the works in 6 to 8 months' time by the time you've got the paperwork in place and a good build team to start. So with all the will in the world, without a crystal ball, I can't tell you where the cost will be in 8 months' time. But what I can say at the moment is construction costs are being impacted by quite a few things at the moment. So we're talking about sort of material costs, which are consistently changing all the time at the moment, based on market factors that are well documented and discussed, and also in relation to labour costs. So, at the moment there is a massive skills shortage in the industry, so there is a shortage of skilled people, which is driving labour costs up in tandem. So those two things together, and sort of barrel that up with a good quality builder team that knows their value, will obviously impact your costs in relation to the extension. So if we're looking at sort of a 3 meter deep by 6 meter wide extension, what you want to consider is what other work you're going to do to the property at the same time as that extension that may also impact the cost. So the shell cost of that building may be at about £2,500 a square metre, and by shell we mean with no finishes, no electrics, none of the kind of fancy kitchen or anything like that. Literally the walls going up and a shell with a roof on it and a floor, but no floor finished. That's probably anywhere between £2,500 to £2,500 a square metre. Then, for example, if you were doing that rear extension and that involved lots of refurbishment on the rest of the ground floor, that is all going to impact your budget cost. If you're literally just putting a box on the back and you're not even breaking any walls that currently exist to put that box in the back, that then has another impact in relation to the cost. So just be mindful. At the moment, we're looking at about £4,000 a square metre for build costs, or in that region, and that is probably a reasonable amount relative to making sure it's all finished with good quality finishes at the end, a nice floor, a nice, lighting, all the rest of it. And that is likely to sound very expensive because, we're talking £4,000 a square metre, and I've just sort of put on a 3 metre by 6 metre extension. So 18 times 4, you can see how this is becoming expensive. And that's just the extended portion and not factoring in any other work that you might be doing. Within that cost, you also want to factor in any consultants' costs, so architects' fees. You want to think about structural engineer. You also probably want to think about whether or not you're going to have a build, require planning permission, and also sort of building control submissions. And in parallel, you probably, in terms of consultants' costs, want to also think about party walls, because if you are in a small terrace or in most properties within 3 meters of other properties, you may well need to serve party wall notices to the neighbours, and there is a cost involved with that. So typically we would say, the upfront cost is anywhere between sort of 10 to 14% of the overall build cost. So you want to have that set aside to deal with all the upfront costs in relation to the extension. You may find that working with the design and build team that upfront cost is slightly more reduced, but then they obviously put that in at the back end. So there are pluses and minuses of these various things. But yeah, that's where we sort of think at the moment construction costs for a small single-story rear extension in 2023 sit.